strength, and it don't make sense not to keep on pushing. No questions. I'm so happy to be in here this evening. Thank all of the incredible folks that came before me. That video was awesome. I want to thank Dante Norman, who almost had me in tears back there. Literally, I didn't know he was going to do this until this evening. So, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Mr. Council President, dignitaries, and the incredible families of our city. I'm not going to be long tonight. You can see from the video that we've been working. Right. But I come to you this evening as a kid from Newark. Yes. The son of Amiri and Amina Baraka. That's right. Who both gave their heart and blood to this city. Yes. They made deep sacrifices for the city and the families that live here. They love and still love this city immensely and have passed that love down to me. And I've tried in my years to use that love to create hope, to build belief, and ultimately the courage to transform, to move from what we know to what we can imagine. I've used that love to move our city forward. I come to you tonight as the mayor of the city of my birth, a city that I love and a city that I am proud of. We are assembled here today to affirm that our city is great. It's moving in the right direction, and we are still, even in the middle of a pandemic, scoring touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. We're here to say that our families are strong and our city is growing, that we have not run from our problems, that we have faced them down and are changing our trajectory one day at a time. We are proud from where we have come and are confident in our road ahead. We are not here to proclaim that we are perfect, that all of our problems have somehow disappeared, or that we don't have intractable issues that challenge us daily. But that is the very reason we are in this auditorium tonight. The reason I decided to do this 8 years ago, to get in the game, to fight the big fights. I realized that it wasn't enough just to talk about the issues and criticize other people. I had to get in the arena. And as I am thankful for all that we've accomplished, I'm equally thankful for the hardships, the obstacles, the unexpected barriers, and I'm even thankful for those who get up each day to tear down everything we try to create. Why? Because how can we say we Newark strong if we've never lifted anything heavy?
That's right, talk Ras. Talk Ras.
How can we say we are tough if we've never been tried? How can we say we are moving forward unless we pass the places where we've been stuck? And how can we wear our crown without bearing our cross? I know we are better than we were 8 years ago. I know that we are better than we were 8 years ago. And anybody that's telling you something different is peddling fiction. So what have we done? In 2013, Newark's unemployment rate was at 14%. Right before the pandemic hit, we were a little over 5%. At the height of the pandemic, we were at a record high of 22% unemployment. And in just 2 years, that number is down to 8%. This is moving forward. Even in the deepest of waters, we are dancing in the desert. We are singing in the dark. Our treasure and our triumph is in our tragedy. And while many cities struggle to dispense of their American Rescue Plan dollars to residents that were behind on their rent, we were successful in giving out $20 million to our residents here. Yeah, I'm optimistic and I have good reason to be. Proud because of our journey. I was born 2 years after tanks rolled up Springfield Avenue and our city burned. And we were left to figure it all out on our own. I was raised here in this city amidst struggles and triumphs. I played on dirty mattresses and abandoned lots and witnessed my friends beat by police or murdered by poverty and drugs in the hands of people they knew. But we pressed on. The same street that burned to ashes. When I started my tenure, we cut the ribbon of a brand new supermarket and complex. And now, we're looking forward to development up and down that corridor that was once a stage for revolt and turmoil. We rose above the flames and Newark moved forward. When I came in our office, our budget was unbalanced. And we had 93 million reasons to believe the pundits that our future was not bright and that the new mayor couldn't work with the business community. But we proved them all wrong. We found the best in our neighbors and partnered with our anchors in every imaginable way and tapped into the brilliance that already rested in our folks at City Hall. And now we're able to offer tax relief that has not been done in more than a decade. This is Newark Forward. Our police department was shaken at the foundation. There were more than 160 officers laid off, and crime rose, and more than 100 families lost loved ones to senseless acts of violence. We turned that around with God's grace, hired over 500 officers and cut homicides completely in half, and have the lowest crime rates that we've had since the Bay of Pigs.
Okay.
This is Newark Forward.
Okay.
Take a look at these charts.
Okay.
The chart speaks for itself. As the rest of the country increased, Newark decreased. Not decreased slightly, but precipitously.
Wow.
And so while we still face issues in our community, while we still have homicide and crime in our community, no one can say that we were not working. No one can say that we did not improve. And no one can say that the city is not better than it was 8 years ago. Around the country, we suffocated under the foot of Officer Chauvin as George Floyd's life was taken in front of us all. And calls to abolish police rang out as people were tired of being tired. But in Newark, we did something different. We created the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery with monies from the police department. We set aside $19 million more to go to community organizations. Even before that, we created the Newark Community Street Team and a Brick City Peace Collective to begin to challenge the culture of violence and create a network of organizations that could get on the ground and work in the most difficult areas of our city. Even more, we changed police policies and practices, added additional training for our officers, and created the first and only civilian complaint review board in the state of New Jersey. This is Newark Forward. In the last 2 to 3 years, we built a brand new full-service homeless shelter, a village for the most difficult to house, and an innovative container village, and are scheduled to build 3 more this year, as well as a drop-in center by Penn Station for our residents without addresses. This is Newark Forward. And as Newark continues to grow, even during this pandemic, with billions of dollars of scheduled development and the opening of new restaurants and businesses, we have concentrated on equity. We started off by going after slumlords and continue to do so. We have closed some of those places down, forced rehabilitation in others, and run some unscrupulous folks out of town. We formed an Equitable Growth Commission to partner with us and ensure that our ideas and projects focus on the most vulnerable and those that are struggling as our economy sprints forward. And with the help of the Municipal Council, we passed an inclusionary zoning ordinance that forces developers to set aside 20% of their units to create affordability. And we just strengthened that ordinance to ensure that more units are created. This is Newark Forward. We didn't stop there. As you saw in the video, we created the state's only land bank. property ownership. Here is where we took residents that were in public housing, used their vouchers, and created an opportunity for them to become homeowners. This is happening nowhere but here. This is Newark Forward. And even further, we've invested $20 million in new housing targeted to residents whose household income is $32,000 or less. We are funding the preservation of 6,000 more affordable units and will support 10,000 vulnerable or unsheltered households every single year. This is Newark Forward. And while the conversation everywhere is about the growing digital divide, particularly in this pandemic, we extended broadband and Wi-Fi to our city parks and rec centers, and even provided Chromebooks to our seniors. But that's not it. We are scheduled to expand to our housing properties and public school buildings, but that's not it. We have an overall plan to ensure that every single resident of this city has access to free or very low-cost broadband, no matter where you live. This is Newark Forward. And because of the work we've done, we've given black and brown entrepreneurs, businesses, and developers opportunities in this city they just really never had. We continue to do so as we are on the road to do our part in closing the wealth gap that was created by decades of intentional discrimination and white supremacy. This is Newark Forward. In our first year here, we secured 700 jobs for Newark residents, opened up Whole Foods, broke ground on the world's largest indoor farm, put out a $2 million grant to address food insecurity by growing small urban farms into co-ops. We strengthened our first source ordinance, required 30% of vendors to be Newark residents and 51% to be minority or women-owned. And with the help of our anchors, we employed 4,000 residents, which got us to double our Newark 2020 goal before the pandemic. This is Newark Forward. This is Newark Forward. This is Newark Forward. This is Newark Forward. We are rehabilitating almost all of our rec centers and parks. We were voted the 5th of the country's most walkable cities. We created a Parks Foundation managed by Marcy DePena that immediately held 200 events this past summer in our downtown parks that drew over 35,000 attendees in the middle of the pandemic. This is Newark Forward. And finally, we're creating Ridgewood Park, designed for our residents with autism. Our first and only park created in this city to address the needs of our autistic community. This is Newark Forward. And I'm so excited today that I finally get on this evening at NJPAC an opportunity to celebrate the way I really want to today. With my people, the families of my city, and those that love this city now and forever. I get to proclaim that not all storms come to destroy us. That some storms don't come to stay, they come to pass. And the world watched our city struggle and thought we would be crushed under the weight of doubt and negativity. Some threw us in a cistern and sold us off. They were hoping we would be defeated, but we made it here anyway. What they thought would destroy us became our footstool. And so Vice President Harris came here to congratulate us for the work we have done. I get to tonight hold up one of the city's last lead service lines. I get to hold it up tonight in front of everybody on the same stage where they tried to mock us and we went from being mocked to being modeled. Yeah, that's more than anything. That's Newark Forward. That's Newark Forward. That We're making it to the other side of this pandemic. I know there are those out there that were not happy with the decisions we made. Who loathe wearing masks and use their platforms to demean or even demonize our vaccination efforts. Listen, I understand your fear, your skepticism, even your anger. I just don't agree with you. I watched as Newark led Essex County in deaths, and this country and our state rested at the top of the nation's list in cases and deaths. With the help of our collective efforts in this city and our county, we were able to reverse those trends. What we did saved lives, and I would do it all again if I had to. These are decisions that leaders have to make in difficult times. Do we watch our neighbors die, the most vulnerable perish, and respond with angry diatribes on social media? Or do we do whatever is in our power to save their lives? Do we watch our infections grow and cross our fingers and be guided by fear as we are crushed under the weight of this crisis? Or do we stand tall and cover those that may not make it without us? This is our job, to bear our cross, to do what we have done. And there are more people that are able to sit in this hall with us tonight because we made the right choices. We followed the science. We lived here. Our families, our children, our friends, our closest relatives. It was our obligation to keep everybody safe, despite if it inconvenienced your nightlife. Or you felt your freedom was being stolen because somebody told you to wear a mask. Imagine being told to sit on the back of the bus, or go to the back of the restaurant, or drink out of another water fountain, or being denied education and improvement. You thought a mask stole your freedom. You need to open up a book and read some history. And I don't want to hear nobody, not a single person, make an analogy to mask wearing to slavery. Okay. And anybody that does that is absolutely positively wrong, and they missed their 5th grade history class. Because I represent the only people who were born here against their will. And wearing a mask is nothing to us. Listen, and because we did this, we are able to open up safely again and bring our people and our economy back. In fact, listen, Newark was listed as one of the top U.S. cities that are recovering from this pandemic rapidly. And we want to continue to move forward. And so tonight, I'm asking all of our businesses, all of our institutions, and all of our corporations and anchors to come back to Newark. We are ready to move forward. Prudential, I invite you back. Horizon, I invite you back. PSE&G, I invite you back. Mars, come on home. Don't leave us now. We are growing. We are winning. We are moving forward. Join us. This is Newark Forward. Join us. This is Newark Forward. Join us. This is Newark Forward. You can't stay home forever. Come back to the city. Open up our city. Embrace our city. Shop in our city. Buy in our city. Build in our city. Love our city. Raise in our city. This is our city. We are moving forward. Come back and come back now. There's so much more for us to do. I know people like to point it out. There's so much more for us to do, and I pray that we are given the opportunity to continue getting it done. We are not perfect by no stretch of the imagination. We are constantly working progress, and the task that lies ahead of us is enormous. The world is certainly being pushed backwards. there needs to be an equal and opposite force in the other direction.
Yes, sir.
We're witnessing war and aggression in Ukraine, attack on democratically elected government. And we witnessed something similar here, an attack on democracy not too far from us in Washington, D.C. on January the 6th. We're watching as our voting rights are being chipped away, and the will and force to address it has been weak and timid. States are banning books and making it illegal to teach black history, whether it's a speech by Martin Luther King or a novel by Toni Morrison. Because there are people that believe teaching our children about injustice is worse than actually having to live with it.
Wow.
Here in New Jersey, we can't pass basic criminal justice reform. We can't say the word reparations. We can't desegregate our own schools or find a will to include everyone into our economy or provide housing for the most vulnerable. It is time for us to be repairers of the breach. We need serious-minded people in these offices. We have to be thoughtful about what we are doing here. This is not a time for clout chasers and opportunists.
That's right. That's right.
For those that partner objectively with the forces that are trying to silence our diversity. This is no time for the entitled or title seekers. No time for glory seekers or increased likes on Facebook. We need workers now more than ever. We need those that love the cause and the labor. We need people who actually want the job and are willing to do it. We need those with wide shoulders that can hold us all. Dreams that are big enough for all of us to fit in. No time for small-mindedness and bickering and foolishness. No time for name-calling and bitterness. Our lives are not a dramatic miniseries or a reality TV show. We are not the entertainment or sideshow for YouTube. We have a long history with mighty families in Newark. Respect our history, respect our families, respect our people. We are not a joke for the rest of the state. A punchline. This is Newark, and we're moving forward. We need a team, a force equal and opposite to the one that tries to divide us, that tries to break us down and force us to lose hope in one another. We started in 2014 by asking you to believe in Newark, because believing matters. There is power in what you believe. The first step towards failure is our inability to believe. So the goal is to move you beyond your belief in what is possible. The idea that we can triumph, the radical imagination that forces us to believe in one another, and ultimately believe in this city that made us who we are. And so tonight, I'm asking you to believe in Newark again. But this time, in Newark's future.
That's right.
What we can become, how we can continue our transformation. And it's going to be painful, because we're going to have to stop reminiscing about places we've been and plot the course to where we are going. We have to abandon hopeless conversations and ideas that give life to our demise, and walk away from people who are empowered by our problems and feed off of our misery. We have to imagine something in some place different that is so disruptive that the state must pay attention to the direction we are going. I'm asking you to believe in Newark's children. Believe in our ability to get to victory. Believe that the seeds we have planted will blossom, that the work we are doing and the places we are building will be made useful for all of us. It was belief that got us through COVID-19. It was belief that got us through our lead crisis. It was belief that got our schools back. It was belief that helped us reduce violence. It was belief that moved us where we are. Belief in ourselves, belief that Newark will be okay, and belief that nothing can stop us. That whatever they have for us, we can handle, and whatever they mean for bad will always be turned for good. Belief that our love for each other is greater than the hate they heap upon us. Belief that the righteous will never be forsaken, and that good will always win in the end. Belief that the only way we can win is by doing it together. Listen, I don't mean any disrespect, but I see signs and things out here that says, I'm with you or you're with us. The only problem with that is when there's an us, there's a them.
That's right.
Us and them don't work.
right.
Only we.
That's right.
We are all from Newark. All of us. We come from families that migrated here from the South on an iron horse seeking refuge from lynching and hatred to raise families with little or nothing. We are from mothers that travel miles with their children and everything they own, speaking different languages and settled here, looking for a good education and opportunity. We traveled overseas seeking refuge from earthquakes in the Azores and turned pain into profit on small streets thousands of miles away from our traditions. We left poverty in Haiti and war-torn Liberia. We all chose Newark, all of us. No matter where we left, we found our way here. History has made us neighbors. History has put our faith in each other's hands. We have learned that dividing us makes our situation worse. It condemns our belief and threatens our security. It makes our collective prosperity almost impossible. It means that we must be together no matter what part of the city we live in. And anyone that tries to create division is the enemy of our growth and the obstacle to our beliefs. So what do? We believe anyway. We have faith anyway. We go forward anyway. They lied on us and we still here. They betrayed us and we still here. They hated and talked about us, but we still here. Our city burned, but we still here. We went through a pandemic, but we still here. Our mothers suffered on these blocks trying to raise their families in difficult situations, but we still here. Some of our fathers went to jail and came home and tried to redo their lives, but we still here. We know what pain is. We know what difficult times are. We get it and we do it together. Only when we're separated, we fail. Our collaboration, our collectivity is our power. When there are people and bosses, I should say, who create their power by keeping us apart, we give them power, we give them life when we feed into that. What do? We join hands across all of our neighborhoods and wards. We learn each other's languages and not demean people for speaking other languages. We eat each other's food. We break these artificial barriers and we cross these imaginary lines. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world. We show the world that Newark is moving forward. Newark is strong now, and it always will ever be. God bless you, and God bless the great city of Newark.